So every year, Mojang decides to do a Minecraft Live where they basically just tell everyone about the new features that are coming to Minecraft and maybe even a new game that they're working on and whatever. One of the things about Minecraft Live is the mob vote, which is a great idea because it allows the community to decide on and have a sort of an impact on the development of the game. However, unless you've been not paying attention, the Minecraft mob vote is kind of scuffed every year. There's something that goes wrong. With that being said, this year's one was kind of alright, but let me just get into it why I don't particularly like the current mob votes and why I think Mojang really needs to work on them. Okay, I'm gonna get this out of the way at the start. Rigged. The mob votes, they're not rigged. Mojang doesn't rig them. I know some people say that the mob votes are rigged, but no, they're not. I mean, yes, you could probably argue that they are, since certain content creators, not going to name any names here, actually will influence them, such as, well, what happened with the glow squid. But I mean, that's not Mojang's fault. They can't do anything about that. So I mean, let's just leave that topic in the past. There's nothing Mojang can do. Okay, I think one of the reasons why the Minecraft mob vote doesn't really work so well is because of the mobs themselves are part of the issue. See, the thing is, there are clear winners and clear ones that are like, okay, they're not going to do well. You already know they're not going to do well. They might have just been thrown in there because they didn't really have any other ideas, maybe. But you see, when it comes to mobs and voting for stuff, people have their own criteria for what they vote for. I'd say by now, a lot of people know what they want, so they already have what they want to look for in mobs. But when the mob vote comes down, they'll probably look for a specific one. For example, when I vote for a mob, I vote for a hostile mob, or a mob that's got a nice use and something that's going to change the game, or just something that I like. Some people vote for mobs that are just cute, and I'll be honest, I have a friend who votes for mobs purely because that's the cutest mob there. That's fine, but I mean, from having a look at all the mobs and having a look at how many votes each of them got, cute mobs, ones that are just cute, don't do well. So Mojang, if you're gonna add a mob that's cute, they want to appeal to people like, oh, that's a cute mob, I want to have a cute mob to the game. Give it something else. Give it something that just makes it really cute, that everyone wants to add some functionality to it. And this sort of brings me into my next point. The mobs aren't finished, and this is a problem. Now, I understand why Mojang hasn't gone out and fully fleshed out the full ideas of each mob, because why would you put so much time and effort into working a full mob that has a 33% chance of actually getting into the game? It's not worth it. I mean, your chances are your mob's just going to get thrown into the bin in a second, which is another point that I want to actually make later on. But for now, I'm just going to stick with what I was talking about, and that's the details. I think the mob vote would be much better if you had actually come out and gave us fully fleshed out, and we know what each mob's going to do, where it spawns, where its locations, everything about the mob that we need to know, because right now, a lot of it's guesswork. People, in fact, there's an entire channel that you can go out where they simply just make guesswork videos on the mobs because we don't know anything about the mobs, and that impacts the votes because, quite frankly, the glow squid is a big example of this. But a lot of people vote for the mobs because of ideas that they've come up with themselves. And so they're sort of setting themselves up for disappointment because they're creating their own headcanons around the mobs. I mean, obviously, that's going to happen every single time. But in my opinion, if you just make mobs and fully flesh them out so that we all know every single thing that we need to know about the mob, like where it spawns, what it does, is it passive, is it hostile? So I think what Mojang needs to do is create mobs that just have a lot more information to it, so that we've got a lot more to compare to the other mobs. Because right now, a lot of the mob vote is based on appearance and whatever they say in the animations, which is kind of not enough in my personal opinion. But let's use the sniffer as an example here. The sniffer is a mob that we currently don't actually know what it's going to be yet. I mean, we have an idea of what it looks like because of the animations and, well, that picture that Mojang released not long ago. Or was it a video? I don't remember. Anyway, the point is, we know a lot about the sniffer. It's probably one of the reasons why that mob got voted, is because there's a lot to know about the sniffer, but we don't know what plants the sniffer is going to produce. Probably because you haven't come up with them yet. Makes sense. But had we known what these plants might be, I think that would have had a big impact on the mob vote itself, because right now I can't help but feel like these plants are going to be a big disappointment. Okay, I do not want more decoration in terms of plant life. We got a lot of that in the caves and cliffs updates. We got a lot of plants added to the games. There's been so much vegetation added to Minecraft. It's not needed right now, but sure. I mean, I hope that the sniffer themselves produce plants that give potion effects if you're within a certain vicinity of them. That would be cool. I doubt it, but hey, it's an idea for anyone who wants to make a mod like that, whatever. Okay, to sum it up, basically, I think one of the next stages they should do for the mob vote is to actually fully have a better idea, or tell us more information about each mob, so that we've got more to compare and we're not just speculating, because quite frankly we're going to make our own headcanons and then just get disappointed when the mobs are released and our headcanons aren't true. It's just sort of setting people up for disappointment. Since the mob vote that included the glow squid, Mojang themselves have learned a lot, and they've made a lot of changes throughout the coming years to stop certain things like rigging and allowing more people to vote, like moving the mob votes to the launcher instead of Twitter, which is a great move. And the art themselves, I think they've learned from, because the glow squid's the prime example here, is that a lot of people got confused by certain aspects because of what was in the art. See, if you can remember, when the glow squid was announced, they had the characters, I think they're called Yen and something. They had those characters, I forgot their names, but they basically sit there and they got dazzled by the glow squid, and people thought that the glow squid would have a dazzling effect. Now, I'll be real, I was one of those people that was like, this is not going to be a feature. This is just them being like, oh, it looks pretty. And it turns out that's what happened. And since then, you may notice that a lot of the mobs that they release, the art for it, they haven't just added stuff that will look good in the promotional video, or things that might mislead other people, which is good. Now, a lot of people still complain about the art, saying that the art isn't accurate enough to what the mob's going to look like. They should actually show us what the mob will look like in game. I don't like that idea, because quite frankly that means they're going to have to go through all this time actually building the mob in a 3D space, which actually can be quite time consuming. If they did do that, there's a good chance they're probably just going to rush each mob, and therefore they're going to look terrible. So therefore, that's not a problem. The art's not a problem. They've learned from the art. So I've seen people complain about the art all the time. There's not an issue. Okay. When Mojang does these mob votes, they release the mobs one at a time, which I can understand why they do that, but at the same time, I feel like it affects the mob vote, because if you think about it, last mob vote, which is the sniffer one, they released the sniffer first, and by the time the rascal was released, which was the next one that was released, everybody wanted the sniffer. Everyone was dead set on the sniffer, so much so that when they released the rascal, a lot of people were just like, yeah, this is worse, screw that, and didn't even bother actually comparing the mobs. Now, obviously, whenever you release the mobs, there's going to be a specific order in which people see them, no matter how you do it. But I don't think they should release them on different days. I think they should release them all within the same day. Maybe an hour apart if you want to be like that, but I think, personally, you should just release them at the exact same time, so that everyone gets to make their own decision first before the entire community has decided on what they want. I feel like if they release them at the same time but still separately, the algorithms itself, for example on Twitter, it will show you the different one first, since Twitter's just like that. It shows you some tweets, some old tweets before new tweets. It just does that. And same for the YouTube algorithm. The one that pops up in the YouTube algorithm, the one that pops up onto your recommended, will probably be the one that you'll see first, and not the one that they release first. I feel like if they were all released at the same time, they could all be judged at the same time and not be slowly compared to the first mob that gets released. Okay, so the final point I wanted to make was about the fact that the mobs, we don't actually know whether or not these mobs get discarded, completely gone, deleted, or if they're getting moved, pushed aside for a later update. As a community, we know that when we vote for these mobs, two of these mobs are not staying, they're leaving, they're gone, never to be seen again. And we've got better at understanding that since 2020. It might just be this year that everyone wanted to sniffer and no one was disappointed. But last year, people were still disappointed. But with the 2021 mob vote, people were still sort of disappointed when their mob wasn't released. Now, most people are just like, meh. But one of the things that Mojang should do is actually decide whether or not these mobs are going to be added in later, and the mob vote is to vote for the mob that's adding next version, and the other mobs will be added later in the game. I wasn't going to mention this because it's obvious that they're probably not going to do this, but the thing is, one of the years they didn't do a mob vote, they did a biome vote, and they even said at some point the biomes that you don't vote for will be included in Minecraft. And people were like, yeah, whatever. Well, goats are now included in Minecraft, and they were part of that biome vote, and I'm pretty sure the biome as well sort of came with the vote. And the frogs that were also, I believe, in that mob vote are now here. I could be wrong, but I think it'd be nice that in future, at some point, not just like they had the next update is, oh, the return of the mobs that were voted out of the mob vote. No. I just mean in a snapshot at some point down the line, they introduce all the mobs that they were meant that got kicked out, just for the sake of adding mobs to the game. So yeah, I think what would actually be nice is if we get some confirmation from Mojang these mobs aren't ever actually coming again. I mean, when they do the mob vote, the guy who does it, I again don't know his name, but he sits there, he throws the mobs away, and it says never to be seen from again or something. So you kind of get the idea that they're never coming back. But because of the biome vote, there's some people have all been speculating and saying that hey, these mobs will be getting added to the game at some point. Don't worry. I don't think they are, but it'd be nice if Mojang actually tell us properly, confirm it that these mobs are never coming again. And if they are, I don't think it'd be that much of a bad idea at some point in the near future, near couple of years, where there's just a snapshot that they released that includes all the mobs that got voted out. Okay, so now before I end the video, I've fully explained now why I think the mob votes are terrible and why they need updating and why they need fixing. But lastly, this isn't something to do with the mob vote. This is something more or less Mojang needs to do themselves. It's before Minecraft Live even comes around, before October comes around, they do the whole thing. Sometime in September or August or even July, release a poll to the public, just a poll to get ideas of what people are looking for mobs, so that they can then pick out the ideas that people are most looking for. Because then the mob vote actually does feel like something where the community is getting involved themselves, because Mojang themselves will be asking you, hey, what mobs do you want to see in the game? And then they will come out and produce 3 mobs of the 3 most popular things that people came up with. I think that'd be a good idea. I mean, if I was to choose, if they want to know what kind of mobs I want to include in the game, I'm just flat out tell you right now, because maybe one of you guys can mod it, but I want to actually see more hostile mobs. I must not be the only person that has got bored now of the zombies, skeletons, spiders, and creepers that spawn every night. I think the mob that they should add is a healing type mob, and not a mob that heals you, a mob that heals or adds health to, zombie skeletons, creepers, and all that. So basically, when that mob is in proximity to them, let's say on easy mode, they get 4 extra hearts, maybe 2, and then all on hardcore mode, they're invincible and you have to kill the healer first before you can kill them. I think that's a good idea. That's what I want to see as a mob. That might be a completely horrific idea. It does sound more like something you'd find in a mod. Maybe someone will mod that. But yeah, ask the Minecraft community what they want to see as mobs in Minecraft. I don't know if they've done this. They might have, and I might just be saying something like they've done this. If they have, great. If they haven't, do that. Okay, but as far as I'm aware, they haven't actually done that yet. But again, I've been known to be wrong. But yeah, that's all I've got to say for this video. If you like the video, then good for you. I mean, there's a button for that. It helps, I think. I don't know. I don't even think the algorithm even cares about the like system since the dislike button was removed. Whatever. But there's a subscribe button. You can do that. That helps me out. I'm thinking of doing more videos like this. I've got an idea for next week's video to be very similar to this. It won't be Minecraft related. Who knows? Stay tuned for that. I might not do it. I might do it. We'll have to see. But yeah, thank you all very much for watching. Subscribe if you want to. Don't subscribe if you don't want to. If you're even listening, if you're even still here, that's cool. Check out the rest of my videos on my channel if you want to. But yeah, thanks for watching and see ya.